One click is all it takes to lose everything.
We are in a cyber war. You can either be a defendant or you could be a victim.
Electronic banking. Almost everyone today does some form of e-banking. Whether we go in and just check our balances online, whether we do online bill paying, whether we do electronic checks or EFTs, it is pretty much a reality of the world we live in. Here's the scariest part. Most of your bank accounts, unless you specifically opted out, has online banking and you don't even realize it. This happened to a friend of mine. He goes, Eric, I lost $5,000 from my one account from online banking and I don't even use it. And what happens is the bank set it up automatically, whether you use it or not, which means if you're not using it and you don't explicitly opt out, you're making it easy for the adversary. So for the first number one rule of electronic banking, if you're not using it, you need to call up the bank and you need to tell them to turn it off, because it is turned on by default, it is available, and if you're not using it, an attacker can. And here's the scariest part. Most of the initial accounts, when they set them up, they're using default passwords, and they're pretty easy to find. So if you didn't actually set your account up, an adversary can go in, set it up, potentially change the email and password, and gain access to your account without realizing it. Now, yes, more and more banks are stepping it up, right? They're going in and fixing this, but there's still many out there that have these vulnerabilities. So first rule, if you are not using electronic banking, web-based banking, you need to explicitly turn it off. Second, if you are utilizing it, you want to go in and turn on the security features. I'm sure if you've listened to any of my other videos that you've heard one of the things I say. Many of these sites, banks have a lot of security built in. The problem, it's turned off by default. Now they're slowly starting to turn it on, right? But they don't want to inconvenience the user, so you need to spend the time to go in and turn on those additional security features. You want to, of course, use two-factor authentication, making sure every time you log in that it's going to send you a separate password. Also, you want to do location verification. What this means is the first time you log in from a new location, they're going to ask you a series of questions. They're going to ask you information of where were you born, last four digits of your phone number, social, many different things to verify it was you. And then they place something they call a cookie on your system, so now they know that's a trusted computer, a trusted location. That means that if an attacker or adversary tries to come in from Russia, China, or other locations, it will automatically make it that much harder for them to break in. Second, you want to get notifications of login. Anytime somebody successfully or unsuccessfully tries to log in, you want to be aware of it. Now you might go, Eric, why unsuccessful? Because if all of a sudden you get 15 unsuccessful logins, you're now aware that somebody is trying to target you and break in, and you can either notify the bank so they can be on warning, or you might want to go in and change that password. You might want to make that password just a little stronger and a little more robust, or turn on two-factor if you're not already using it. Also, if you don't do a lot of EFTs, electronic fund transfers, turn it off or put a limit. Say online or via web, it will only allow up to a $2,000 electronic fund transfer. I do a lot of EFTs in running my business, and I actually have it set up. They must be done in person. They cannot be done online. I actually have to go into the bank, they check my IDs, I verify, I validate, and I have to fill out the forms and do it that way. Now, yes, it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but when I look at the real threat, and I can't tell you how many small, medium, and large companies I have seen that have done unauthorized fund transfers. They get an email that looks legitimate, they think it's from a valid vendor, and it says click here to pay, and they click and it's fraudulent. And here's the problem. If you click on the link and you're technically authorizing the transfer of the money, you're liable, not the bank, because you're the ones who did it. Now, yes, If somebody breaks into your bank, steals your account, and it's because the bank didn't have proper security, that's on the bank. That's all on them. But if you technically authorized the transaction and you told the bank, yes, transfer the money, even though you were tricked, you're the one that did the transfer. Therefore, from a bank's perspective, that's not fraud, that's valid, and it's on you, not them. Now, yes, you can work with law enforcement, but the probability of them finding and catching and prosecuting is pretty slim. So the trick is this: don't click on links, don't do any transfers electronically. I think it's too risky. Now, if you're a large organization or a large company, that's not going to be practical, but what you can do is make sure that all transactions have two-person verification. Or what we do for our larger clients is the bank always has to call and talk to somebody to verify the transaction before it occurs. But just recognize that one of the big areas of cybercrime are fraudulent wire transfers, and make sure you either turn it off, put verification, or put steps in place to minimize or reduce that risk. And if you do those basic steps, online banking is not hard. It's not that risky. It can be properly protected. The issue is if you do online banking with no limits, no notifications, and just plain passwords, that is a very risky thing to do. And just by taking a few simple steps, you can make it a fairly low risk endeavor and get all of the benefits and all of the pluses and minimize and reduce the overall risk. Now, of course, nothing is 100% secure, but at least you're now managing and controlling that risk. And if you want more information on how to be safe and protected online, please visit me at onlinedanger.com, where you can download a free chapter. But I might give out books someday for free, but right now you can download a free chapter at onlinedanger.com.